What if the windows of a building could generate electricity? What if the walls of skyscrapers could produce power? What if train station roofs, and even the roofs of electric vehicles, became power plants? That future is no longer science fiction. A new type of solar cell now being commercialized in Japan is attempting to make it a reality. Its name is the Perovskite solar cell. This technology possesses characteristics that are fundamentally different from conventional silicon solar panels. It is thin, it is lightweight, it can bend, and in some cases, it can even be transparent. This gives it the potential to be installed in places where traditional solar panels have never been practical. Even more interestingly, this technology was pioneered by a Japanese researcher, and it is one of the fields in which Japan remains a global leader. Why is the world paying so much attention to this technology now? And why is Japan placing such high expectations on it at the national level? Today, we explore how perovskite solar cells work, what makes them unique, and why they could play a major role in Japan's future energy strategy. What is a perovskite solar cell? Perovskite solar cells were first introduced in 2009 by Professor Tsutomu Miyasaka of Toin University of Yokohama. Despite its name, perovskite does not refer to a specific mineral. Instead, it refers to a particular crystal structure. Materials that possess this structure have an extraordinary ability to convert light into electricity. This discovery dramatically changed the field of solar energy. Traditional silicon solar panels have several limitations. They are heavy, they are rigid, they cannot bend, and their installation options are often limited. As a result, they frequently require large amounts of space and dedicated infrastructure. Perovskite solar cells are different. They can be manufactured as thin films. They are lightweight, flexible, and can be applied almost like a sticker. This means they could potentially be installed on windows, building facades, factory roofs, train stations, and even vehicle bodies. Another important advantage is their ability to generate electricity under relatively weak lighting conditions. Because they can maintain performance even on cloudy days or under indoor lighting, many researchers believe they are particularly well suited for urban environments. Why does this matter to Japan? The significance of this technology for Japan extends far beyond electricity generation alone. To understand why, we need to look at Japan's energy situation. Japan is a country with limited domestic energy resources: oil, natural gas, coal. Most of these resources must be imported from overseas. As a result, Japan's energy self-sufficiency rate remains among the lowest of the major developed economies. Securing stable domestic energy sources has therefore been a national priority for decades. This is where iodine becomes important. Iodine is one of the key materials used in many perovskite solar cell designs. Japan is one of the world's leading iodine producers, second only to Chile. In other words, Japan possesses a natural advantage in one of the critical materials required for this technology. At the same time, China currently dominates the global market for conventional silicon solar panels. Perovskite solar cells, however, are still an emerging technology, and the market has not yet been fully established. This creates an opportunity for Japan to take a leading position in a new industrial sector. Another major advantage involves urban design and aesthetics. Large-scale conventional solar farms have sometimes generated controversy over land use and visual impact. Perovskite solar cells offer a different approach. Because they are thin and flexible, they can be integrated directly into existing buildings and infrastructure. They can conform to the shape of a structure. They can be transparent or semi-transparent. They can even incorporate colors or patterns. For a country like Japan, where land is limited and visual harmony is often highly valued, these characteristics represent a significant advantage. Why haven't they already taken over the world? At this point, you might be wondering, if this technology is so promising, why hasn't it already become widespread? The biggest reason is durability. Perovskite materials have historically been vulnerable to moisture and humidity. They can also be sensitive to heat. Over time, their performance tends to degrade. In simple terms, high performance, short lifespan. That has been the central challenge for years. A solar cell that works perfectly in a laboratory is not necessarily capable of surviving outdoors for 20 or 30 years. Because of this, Perovskite solar cells spent many years being described as promising future technology without reaching large-scale commercialization. The front lines of commercialization. Today, however, the situation is beginning to change. Japanese companies are actively working to solve these durability challenges. Their strengths lie particularly in film technology, encapsulation technology, and precision manufacturing. Research and demonstration projects are continuing across Japan as companies attempt to overcome the remaining technical barriers. In other words, perovskite solar cells are no longer confined to laboratories. They are beginning to enter the real world. One notable example is Sekisui Chemical. In 2026, the company officially launched commercial operations for its film-type perovskite solar cell product, Solafil, with installations beginning on public facilities and highway infrastructure. Panasonic is also conducting demonstration projects involving transparent and semi-transparent glass-integrated perovskite solar cells. Of course, challenges remain. Further improvements in durability, mass production techniques, cost reduction, higher conversion efficiency. Many technical hurdles still need to be overcome, but the important point is that these obstacles are no longer viewed as impossible barriers. They are engineering challenges waiting to be solved. Conclusion. Until now, solar energy has largely been associated with dedicated solar farms built on open land. Perovskite solar cells could fundamentally change that idea. Windows generating electricity, walls generating electricity, train stations generating electricity, vehicles generating electricity. In the future, entire cities could become power plants. Of course, conventional silicon solar panels will continue to play an important role. Perovskite solar cells are unlikely to replace every existing technology overnight, but they offer something new, the ability to turn surfaces that could never generate electricity before into sources of power. And today, Japan stands at the forefront of making that future a reality.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe to Deep Focus Japan for more videos on Japanese society and current issues.